Welcome to the panel. Grab your hard hat, because in today's explainer, we are mastering circuit breakers. Look, I've been a site engineer for a long time, and I remember exactly what it feels like to be a trainee standing in front of a massive, buzzing switchgear for the very first time. It's intimidating, right? But today we're going to demystify all these fundamentals. We'll break down exactly how these crucial pieces of safety equipment actually work, and I promise you, by the end of our time together, you're going to look at these panels in a completely different, highly logical way.
I know exactly what you're thinking when you stare at that complex breaker panel. It's just this giant wall of confusing acronyms. L, S, I, G, IQ, IN. I mean, what does it all actually mean? It feels like an alphabet soup designed literally just to confuse you. And hey, it's completely valid to feel overwhelmed by that. But don't worry, every single one of those letters has a very specific life-saving purpose. And decoding them, well, that's the first real rite of passage for any great electrical engineer.
So here is our game plan for today. First, we'll tackle the alphabet soup. Then, we'll look at the breaker's body versus its brain. From there, we'll dive into physical limits, and then into the protection logic. Finally, we'll walk through some real fault scenarios and wrap it all up with the golden rule.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the alphabet soup.
So, here is a paradigm shift that will completely change how you look at breakers. We can actually take all those confusing letters and organize them into two highly logical buckets. On one side, we have Group 1, which is the breaker strength. This includes IN, ICU, ICS, and ICW. Then, on the other side, we have Group 2, which are your protection functions. This is your L, S, I, and G. If you can just memorize the simple two-bucket split, you've honestly already won half the battle.
Moving on to Section 2, breaker body versus brain.
Think of it this way. The body represents the breaker's fixed physical strength. These are the muscles, right? They're built right in at the factory, and you absolutely cannot change them. The brain, on the other hand, is the micrologic unit. That's the decision-making protection logic that you, the site engineer, will actually program. The brain decides what to do, but the body has to be strong enough to actually survive doing it.
Okay, Section 3. Let's dig into those physical limits.
First up is IN, which stands for continuous current capacity. Let's say we have an N of 2,000 amps. The crucial thing to understand here is that this is the breaker's thermal limit. It represents the maximum current the breaker can carry all day, every day, continuously without overheating. If you try to push, say, 2,100 amps through it for too long, things are going to get dangerously hot.
Next is ICU, or maximum fault breaking. Imagine our breaker has an ICU of 50 kiloamps. That's 50,000 amps. This is your ultimate safety limit. This is the absolute maximum fault current the breaker can safely interrupt before catastrophic physical failure. I mean, if a fault exceeds this number, the breaker might literally blow apart.
Rounding out our physical limits, we have ICS and ICW. ICS is your reusable braking capacity. This is basically an indicator of the breaker's durability. If it clears a fault within this ICS limit, it's still usable and reliable for post-fault maintenance. Now, ICW is the withstand limit during a delay. For example, it might be rated to hold 50 kiloamps for exactly 1 second. And this is totally crucial, because sometimes the breaker has to survive a brutal waiting period while it lets another breaker downstream try to trip first.
All right, Section 4, protection logic. Time to program the brain. Let's start with L, which stands for long time or overload protection. Remember that 2,000 amp N limit we just talked about? Well, L works right around that value. It protects the system against small but really long duration overcurrents. And this is where your calculations actually come in. You set the IR pickup as a multiple of your N limit. So for example, setting it to 0.85 gives you a 1,700 amp threshold. Then you set the TR delay so the brain knows exactly when to finally pull the plug to stop a fire from slow cable heating over, say, an hour.
Next up is S, for short time or controlled fault protection. This setting handles medium-level short circuits, but it does it with a deliberate delay using your ISD and TSD settings. Your ISD setting is calculated as a multiple of your IR, usually somewhere between 2 to 10 times that value. Now you might be wondering, why delay? It's for system selectivity. S purposely waits a fraction of a second to see if a smaller downstream panel can clear the fault first. That way, you don't unnecessarily shut down your entire main facility for a localized problem.
But then we have I, for instant fault protection. There is absolutely no waiting here. When a severe short circuit hits, we are talking about massive, violent energy that can destroy equipment in mere milliseconds. The I setting looks for that immediate danger. When it reaches its I pickup value, which is often calculated as a much higher multiple of your base in rating, like 10 or maybe even 15 times, it trips the breaker instantly. No delays, no coordination, just immediate survival.
And finally, G stands for ground fault, or earth leakage protection. This is your absolutely crucial, life-saving safety net. If insulation gets damaged and current starts leaking directly to the earth, G detects that missing current. Look, even a small leak is a massive shock hazard to personnel, so the G setting uses its IG and TG parameters to shut things down before anyone gets hurt.
Which brings us to Section 5, Real Fault Scenarios. Let's see this logic in action. Imagine our breaker has a continuous capacity, or IN, of 2,000 amps. Its maximum fault rating, ICU, is 50 kiloamps, and its withstand delay ICW is 50 kiloamps for 1 second. Let's directly contrast two different situations to see exactly how the brain works. Case 1 is a 1700 amp overload. The breaker is rated for 2000, so 1700 is high, and maybe it's steadily creeping up. This causes slow cable heating. The L function recognizes this, watches the clock, and safely trips before anything melts. Now contrast that with Case 3, a violent 25 kiloamp short circuit. In this scenario, the brain completely ignores the L delay and instantly triggers the I function, immediate trip. The brain perfectly routes the specific problem to the exact correct protection response.
Let's just quickly summarize the 4 fault cases by severity to see the full logic in action. Step 1. Got a 500 amp leakage to ground? The G function trips to prevent electrocution. Step 2. A slow 1700 amp overload? The L function steps in to prevent thermal damage. Step 3. A 9000 amp medium fault downstream. The S function waits briefly for the downstream breaker, then trips if needed. Step 4. A massive 25 kiloamp severe short circuit? The I function trips instantly. And honestly, that right there is the pure genius of the Micrologic brain.
All right, Section 6, the golden rule.
As a site engineer, this is the final, absolutely critical system check you must always perform to bridge the gap between the hardware and the software. Here is the golden rule you really need to commit to memory. Always, always check your settings against your physical limits. First, the actual fault current must be less than your IC. Second, if you program a delay using your S function, that delay time and current must be fully supported by the breaker's IC rating. Remember, your brain's clever logic doesn't matter one bit if your body's physical strength cannot actually survive the fault or the delay time.
I actually want you to write this quote down because it perfectly reinforces everything we've built today. L, S, I, and G decide when to trip, but IN, ICU, X, and ICW decide whether the breaker can survive that decision. It's that simple. The software makes the call, but the hardware has to take the hit.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a critical question. Now that you truly understand the body and the brain, think about your own site. Are the breakers in your facility actually coordinated to survive their next big decision? I really hope you're eager to get out on the floor, open up some panel diagrams, and apply this knowledge right now. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and hey, stay safe out there.